everyone, and welcome to another 1230 Facebook Live here with Arizona Science Center. My name is Maverick, and today we are going to be doing a really awesome investigation here, learning about the properties of matter, and we're going to be making our very own GAC, our very own unique slime, just by mixing a couple basic materials together and seeing how their properties change. Now, before we do that, I want to talk about matter. What is matter? Oh, no, what's the matter with you? Thanks guys, I appreciate it. Thank you. Matter is everything. Everything is matter. Everybody matters. Matter is everything. Matter is all the little micro things that make up everything, right? Everything has matter. This table, this thing of glue, literally everything is made up of matter. But what's really cool about it is mixing different materials together can actually change the properties of those things. And by properties, I mean the characteristics, the physical characteristics of them, right? Something can go from really hard to really soft. Something can go from really liquidy and runny to really pulled together and slimy. And today we're going to kind of experiment with that a little bit by making our very own GAC. Now, the only thing you're going to need for this experiment here is a couple of different cups or something to mix together in. So I've got 3 different cups here. I don't know if I'll use all 3, but I've got a few so I can give some examples. Some small measuring utensils, a quarter cup and a teaspoon are perfect. That should be all you really need for this. If you want to make more, you can upgrade these a little bit if you want to. You're going to need some water. Now, I have regular water, so just room temperature water, and I also have hot water. You're going to want a little bit of both because that's going to impact the physical changes, the property changes of your matter when we mix them together. You're going to need some glue, just some like white school glue, and you're going to need this awesome borax, this like laundry detergent booster here. And then I've got a couple little Ziploc bags here to put it in at the end. And if you're trying to get spicy with it, you can get some food coloring if you want to add some razzle-dazzle to your GAC. But we're going to go ahead and get started with this. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, just because I can, is this water right here, I actually heated it up right before this, so this is hot water. You can kind of see a little bit of the condensation coming up here. But this is hot water, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cup, and I'm going to put just under a quarter cup of the hot water into here. So I'm going to pour that over this. And because it is hot, you want to be careful. So if you're doing this at home, make sure you're being extra careful because this is hot water. And something that's hot can potentially burn you. Put a little bit of that in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this borax, this powdered borax here, and I'm going to take a really tiny, about ½ a teaspoon amount of borax and mix it into there. We want to saturate our solution. And saturate basically means when we're mixing together this solid and this liquid right here, all of the solid dissolves into the liquid, so it just looks like one substance, but no more can mix in, basically. So saturated basically means we have mixed it to the maximum amount to where no more will mix in. So I'm going to put about that ½ a teaspoon in there, and I'm going to mix it together until it fully dissolves. Now, one thing that's really, really cool about kind of mixing these materials together and working with matter is the way everything kind of changes. So what you're going to see here, and I'll talk a little bit about it, but the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to take our quarter cup measuring glass here, measuring cup, and I'm going to put about a quarter cup of glue in this cup. Now, glue, if you've ever seen glue before, if you haven't, you're going to see it right now, and I assume you've probably seen glue, but if you haven't, glue is really runny, but it's not like water, right? It's liquidy, but it's still got a little bit of solidness there, and that's because it's got these chains of what are called polymers in there. And those polymers kind of hold it together, but also just in glue by itself, they're fairly free-flowing, so it gives it that still liquidy feel. So if I were to dig my fingers to this, I don't really want to get my fingers covered in glue, but if I were to do that, they would kind of run off and it'd still be a little bit liquidy, but it'd stick to it. Now this borax that I'm going to mix in here, that I mix into the water, what that does is it essentially creates hydrogen bonds between the polymers. It makes those polymers start attaching together. And the glue stops being as runny. It starts being a little more solid, and that's how we end up creating our GAC, right? Now, I'm going to also take this water, which, in hindsight, I probably should have done the water before the glue, so doing it at home, do the water before the glue if you're using the same measuring cup. But I'm going to put about the same amount of water as I did the glue, so about a quarter cup of room temperature water into the glue. And because there's still a little bit of glue at the bottom of this, I'm going to just put a little bit more. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that hot water after I mix this just a little bit, just to kind of get a little bit of that combination. But what you'll notice is putting the water in the glue and mixing it, not much really happens. It stays pretty separated. You can visibly see that, right? So not every material that you mix together will change the structure of that material. So I'm mixing it in. It's just chunky glue on the bottom and water on the top, right? So I'm going to mix this hot water mixed with borax in there. And then we're going to start mixing it up a little bit and see what happens. Now, immediately, before when I was pulling my popsicle stick out, you noticed that I was just pulling my popsicle stick out and nothing was happening. Now when I pull my popsicle stick out, you're going to notice that I've got this big old chunk of slime here. And that is because, like I was talking about before, when we add that hot borax mix, that solution in there, it starts bonding all those polymers in the glue together. And the reason it's hot, right? The reason we want to use hot water for this, it'll work with not hot water, but hot water works the best because when you saturate it, water, when it gets really hot, starts evaporating off, right? As it's cooling down, if it's fully saturated, that borax stays in there, but the water's evaporating off, which means that the borax gets more and more concentrated, causing this to clump up and create this GAC slime here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this in this bag here so I can feel around a little bit more of it. It's okay to touch it with your hands if you want to, but I haven't eaten lunch yet, so I wanted to eat lunch right after this, so I'm just going to go ahead and play around with it in here. But what you're going to notice is, although it's just that glue and stuff mixed together, it is nice and not fully solid, but it's not nearly as runny as normal glue. And we have just changed the properties of matter just by mixing a couple materials together. We have made our very own GAC slime. What you can do next time if you want to try this at home, add some food coloring to your water before you start and change the colors and see what you get. Try using different amounts of borax and liquid or whatever you want to use at home to see how that changes the consistency of your GAC, because you can do all kinds of awesome things with this. But thank you all so much for joining. Make sure at home you are wearing those masks whenever you're going out in the public or anything, keeping yourself safe, keeping everybody around you safe. Make sure you're washing your hands and doing all of that awesome stuff just to make sure that we are being safe and being an awesome community together here. Now, here at Arizona Science Center, we've got all kinds of cool stuff that we're offering now, so go ahead and check us out at azscience.org and check out some of the awesome resources we have, including our new Connect at AZ Science that we're offering as an awesome at-home resource for you. This is actually one of the activities that we have been doing, along with multiple other activities, to learn all about stuff right there in the comfort of your own home. My name is Maverick. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Keep on tuning into these Facebook Lives, and I will see you next time, guys. Have an awesome weekend. Bye, everyone.